Whatever time it is where you are watching, welcome to Tracktown, USA. Eugene, Oregon, that is. From me, Tim Hutchings, and Steve Cram beside me to this third stop of the 2014 Diamond League Series. Founded and named the Prefontaine Classic after the tragic death in 1975 of local distance running star Steve Prefontaine. 40 years ago today, yesterday that is, the meeting brings the media spotlight to this small university town in western Oregon each year for what has been amongst the world's top meetings for many years and was last year the world's top-ranked track and field meeting. Well, very good crowd here at historic Hayward Field on a glorious sunny day. As you can see, 21 degrees centigrade makes it just about perfect for every discipline. There is a breeze across the arena, as there was last night for the distance running night, the Friday evening, warming up the crowds in effect for this main day of Diamond League action. And of course, big money up for grabs in every discipline. The disciplines spread across the 14 meetings of the series, with each discipline competed over 7 of the 14 meetings. The first event on the track, the women's 400-meter hurdle. Steve Cram will take you through this one, and we're with you now for 2 hours of very high-caliber action.
Thank you, Tim. The lineup there you could see for this 400-meter hurdle event. Still only 5 women have gone under 55 seconds so far in 2014. This is lane 2, Delilah Muhammad, who had a brilliant year last year, silver medalist in the World Championships. Hasn't really shown that sort of form yet so far this year. In fact, in Doha, I would suggest a really embarrassing performance, 58 seconds, and for somebody of her ability, that really was poor. Denisa Rosolova from the Czech Republic, the European indoor champion a couple of years ago, and silver medalist at the European Championships, which were held just before the London Olympics. Got European Championships again this year. She'll be looking to go well there. But what about Corey Carter? It was here last year where she ran a brilliant race, running 53.21. Missed the World Championships due to illness, went off to her sister's wedding as well. Interesting to see how she goes here today. Khalees Spencer of Jamaica, 4th at the Olympics, had a good indoor season, picked up a silver medal in both the relay and the individual event in Sopot. Well, that race that was held here in Eugene last year when Carter ran so well, Georgianne Moline, who so often has raced against Carter. She's a little older, Carter just 21 years of age, Moline 24 now. Pedroso of Italy, formerly from Cuba, gained Italian citizenship last year.
And in lane 8, twice an Olympian.
And then right on the outside from Jamaica, Siobhan Stoddart.
This is the women's 400-meter hurdle.
So conditions, as Tim was saying, pretty good, to be honest. There's a bit of a breeze down the back straight. It's just picking up to about 2 meters per second. You may have seen on that caption right at the very beginning. But I think an excellent opportunity for the likes of Carter here. And that's Tiffany Williams, the one athlete that we didn't see just over in lane 1 from the USA. Carter will be pleased that she's got Khalees Spencer and Georgianne Moline outside her in 5 and 6. So our first event of the afternoon, the women's 400-meter hurdles at world lead mark 54.59 set in Doha. Spencer was a little slow away. Carter much better in lane 4 inside. Has already maybe taken a meter out of her, but Spencer now moving and also going well as Moline outside her in lane 6. Moline just rising first down the back straight there. But Carter now just starting already through this first 200 meters to try and show her intent here. And it's Carter in lane 4 who's rising first through 200 meters. And it's a very even race here. Khalees Spencer now starting to come into around that top end, and Carter watching as the Jamaican just starts to pull away a little bit, and Khalees Spencer looking good here. Carter just starting to struggle a little. Moline on the outside and falls. Moline goes down, hits that one hard. Spencer now with a 2-meter lead. Carter trying to chase her down. One more flight of hurdles to go, but Khalees Spencer looking strong here. Khalees Spencer safely over it. Now we're watching the clock because there's no danger from behind. Carter is going to take second place, and over on the inside it'll be Williams who gets third, and that's a world lead. 54.3 for Spencer. Well judged, well executed. Went off a little slow, I thought, really from the gun, and Carter was perhaps leading through the first 2-3 flights, but from 200 meters on, Spencer took control of the race, and with Georgianne Moline, who might have been a threat coming off that bend, Tim, just misjudging that. Look at that.
Yeah, really unfortunate, because she was certainly contesting the lead there with about 110 to go with Khalees Spencer, but Malene did have a heavy fall. Very, very impressive run from Khalees Spencer, the Jamaican, because she wasn't really aware. There was no way she could be aware of how quickly Corey Carter in lane 4 had started the first 200 metres, but she built up well. She seemed to accelerate from about 150, 200 metres into the race, very strong around the bend, and frankly won that by a very, very comfortable margin. Well, Malene there, so unlucky, the 24-year-old American, 5th in the Olympic Games in London. We'll never know how strongly she would have finished.
Well, of course, Eugene is a two-day meet now, two-evening meet, if you like, and lots for track and field fans to enjoy last night. We had some Diamond League field events, including the women's long jump, and it was a great competition, just 2 centimetres separating the top 4. Eloise Lesseur, the world indoor champion, in the 3rd round, tried to sneak ahead of the rest after 2 no jumps, went out to 6.87. Pretty much excellent conditions, just a slight breeze behind them. And then the Russian Klishina following that in the 3rd round, not by much. But after a difficult start to her season, it's just starting to really get things going. She went out to 6.88, and that moved her into the lead. Brittany Reese had jumped 6.86 earlier on, and indeed so had Ivana Spanovic, which was a new national record for her, but if she was going to win this, she had to go even further, and that's exactly what she did in the final round, going out to 6.88. Well, that of course equaling the jump of Klishina, and that meant it would be decided on countback as to who had won the competition. And as I've just mentioned, she had that 6.86 in the bank, and Klishina had 1 more jump left, did her best to try and match that, or even go further and take the lead outright, but wasn't to be. So despite the 2 of them having jumped 6.88, it was Spanovic who took the victory. So 3 national records for her in the space of a couple of weeks. Klishina taking 2nd place, Lesseur with the season's best, and Brittany Reese having to settle for 4th place. Spanovic now leads the diamond race.
Confirmation of that win for Khalees Spencer, 54.29, the fastest time in the world this year. Very comfortable win from Corey Carter and Tiffany Williams. And poor Georgiane Malene with that heavy fall in last place. 6 points for Spencer in the diamond race standings, with Adekoya of Bahrain in 2nd place from Carter. Well, the next event on the track is the women's 3,000 metre steeplechase. 14 starters in this one. The winner of the Shanghai Diamond League in spectacular fashion, the American Emma Coburn, goes here against a very, very strong field, I have to say. First 3 from the World Championships in Moscow last summer are in this race. Eilish McColgan, the young daughter of former world champion at 10,000 metres. Liz McColgan goes in this one. Milka Chamos is here, though. She is the world champion from last year, as indeed is Lydia Chepkurui, her Kenyan compatriot, who was the silver medalist, and the bronze medalist from Moscow, Sofia Asefa, as well. Ayalu, she's a force to be reckoned with as well. World cross-country silver medalist last year. Very strong Ayalu. 3rd in Shanghai in that race which was quite bizarre 2 weeks ago, where Emma Coburn built up a big lead, the American, mid-race, and she wasn't caught. She finished strongly. They couldn't get back to her. And strangely in that race, the World Championship gold and silver medalists ran awfully. Chamos and Chepkurui were 8th and 9th. Asefa, well, she was 2nd in Shanghai, but some 4 seconds or so down on Emma Coburn. There is Chamos, the world champion. She'll be looking for a confidence-boosting performance here. She really did underperform very badly in Shanghai 2 weeks ago. Aisha Port there. It will be the pacemaker through to the middle stages of the race. The early pacemaker expected to be Lauren Johnson, who will take them through to about 2.5 laps over the first 1,000 metres. They have requested, by the way, a very quick tempo. Something like 3:03 per kilometre has been requested. And that would mean, well, clearly 9:09 pace for the full distance. And there's even doubts whether or not the pacemakers can get them to halfway at that speed. So away they go. Look out too for Habiba Gribi of Tunisia, the Olympic silver medalist from 2012. She's a competitive and consistent customer. She's recently run a 1,500 metre personal best as Gribi. So the breeze, perhaps the only reason that time might not come out that quickly on the track, other than the tactics which the athletes choose to employ. Coburn, the winner in Shanghai, slotting into third place now. She looked very comfortable winning in that race in China 2 weeks ago, the 23-year-old, in a personal best of 9:19. Certainly it looked like, and she said after the race, that she had got a little bit more in the tank. She's tucked in confidently straight away behind the pacemakers Johnson and Pratt. Well, they need to be lapping at around 73.5 seconds to hit 3:03 for the first kilometre. And this has a sense of deja vu about it, really. This is very similar to the early stages of Shanghai, but on that occasion, a fortnight back, Coburn followed the pacemakers, built up a big lead, and then was left on her own. And I really expected her to be reeled in, and she never was. The pack never really quite got to grips with the chase over the final 2 or 3 laps, and she stayed well clear. Well, Eilish McColgan struggling at the water jump there. Some 6 laps to go in this steeplechase. We'll come back to it very shortly.
Great men's Chibildrum competition in store, and Lukmana Adams, the world indoor champion, Russian, won in Shanghai, and starting out very well in the first round here. That's well over 17 meters. They're jumping the same direction as the long jumpers did yesterday, with that breeze behind, and we'll be hoping that they can keep it just under that 2 meter per second speed, because that will give them opportunity for a good competition here today. And that's a good start for the world indoor champion. 17:29 in the very first round. Season's best for the Russian.
Well, Johnson still leading in these steeplechase as they approach the 1 kilometre mark. Pratt in second place, the 2 pacemakers, and Johnson will move wide shortly with her job done. Chamos paying close order to Coburn on this occasion. They're in 4th place, the little Kenyan, who in only one of her first ever steeplechases took the bronze medal in Berlin in 2009 at the World Championships. And I have to say that there are real problems there for Eilish McColgan, struggling like mad with the water jump. She's landing in deep water and losing all momentum, and she's way back from the all of the field, but one athlete.
Eilish McColgan, like quite a few of the British athletes, have been preparing for this event up at altitude. Fast first 1,000 metres, Tim. We said whether or not they'll be able to go through 3:3:34. Well, they've done that, 3:4 through the first 1,000. And that's very quick pace. The pacemaker first one steps off and leaves the way clear. Can they keep this going? Back in the triple jump. This is Fedorov in the second round. An early lead set by his compatriot of 17:29, showing that conditions are right here for good competition. Christian Taylor going, of course, the Olympic champion, who's been concentrating on 400-meter running so far this year, and with great effect. It'll be interesting to see how he goes. Will Clay in it as well, multi-talented jumper. So Fedorov in the second round. (16.72), slight improvement on his first round effort. So here's Will Clay then. Olympic silver medalist at the triple jump, bronze medalist in the long jump as well. That's a huge effort from Clay. Now his best is only 17.62. That was at the Olympic Games, and that's not far off it. And that set the crowd alight in the home straight here. Will Clay, early in the competition, just the second round. He had a no jump in the first round. Now he'll be watching the wind gauge as well as the distance. Just a bit off balance at the end there. Gets the white flag. 17.42. Unfortunately for him, just over the limit. Plus 2.2 the win, but that will take the lead. Will Clay in great form.
So the steeplechase has stretched out now, and we're down to 4 athletes. The second pacemaker, Johnson, has dropped out, and Port has dropped out. What a good job they did. Remember that first kilometre, 3:04. But it is now Emma Coburn running with newfound confidence. She is the fastest in the world, is the 23-year-old, and she's striding along now with Arlu in second place, Chepkarui in third, Asefa in fourth. Chamos is really suffering. She's out of sorts. She's back in sixth place at the moment, and really not a threat at all to this leading group. It's a big surprise, the poor form of Chamos at the moment, who's some 40 metres behind the leading quartet as they go through with 3 laps to run.
You've got to admire Coburn, Tim. A lot of people saying that was a bit of a fluke last week in Shanghai, a couple of weeks ago in Shanghai, that they let her go. They didn't realise she would run that fast. Well, they know now. And having gone out at 3-4, you could have forgiven her for saying, well, this time round it's your turn, I'll just follow you 3. And no, she's out there in front again, trying to keep this pace going, and perhaps realising, already seen, as you said, that Chemos is not in good form, and just making sure that the others know that if they're going to win this race today, it's going to be a tough one. So Coburn doing a great job, looks tired, so 6:12, 3:08, the pace is slow, but it's still pretty fast, and still looking at something well under 9:20 if they can keep this going.
Yes, Coburn looking very strong, I have to say now. She can wind it up from here, because I don't know if she's got the speed to contend with the best of the Africans. Although Chamos is normally the head waiter, the really good kicker, but she's clearly in poor shape at the moment as Coburn comes down the straight with just over 2 laps to run. Certainly the home support will be for the American girl who leads at the moment. Ayalu in second place, and she's kept the tempo very honest. That second kilometre after a quick 3:04 opener, 3:08 as you said, Steve, almost 6:13 the time at 2 kilometres. And Coburn here now just being challenged for the first time by Ayalu, who takes the lead and kicks in pretty hard, and Asefa goes round her, and there's no response at this stage from Emma Coburn. Hurdling well, but Asefa in second place, trying to close the gap on Ayalu, who's kicked in quite viciously there with just under 2 laps to run. And clearly she doesn't want to leave this to a sprint finish. Ayalu, the world cross-country silver medalist, she knows she's strong. She was third in Shanghai 2 weeks ago, just out of the medals in Moscow last summer with 4th place. She was 5th in the Olympics in 2012, so some frustrations perhaps for the 24-year-old in major championships of late. But she comes around the bend now with 500 to run. And only Asefa has been able to go with this surge, although it has dragged Emma Coburn well clear of the other athlete, Chepkarui, who's in 4th.
Well, this is going to be a great last lap, isn't it? Neither of them really too confident about their kick, but they were running strong. Coburn still not giving this up. She's about 10 metres adrift, but a good last lap for her to be up for massive personal best. She's not going to be that far off Jenny Simpson's US record, which is 9:12. She's probably heading for somewhere, probably 16-17 if she can do a good last lap, though. But the 2 of them at the front, let's see, Tim. It's all about technique as well, isn't it, on this last lap?
Ayalu from Asefa. They've got about 15 metres now in Coburn. The battle between those 2, drawing them clear now of the American, who's quite isolated. The gap behind Coburn, out of shot, is about 35 metres back to 4th place. She's still had a fabulous run here, and she will run a personal best if she can finish strongly this last 250. But Asefa now, powerfully built Asefa. She always looks to me like she's carrying a little bit of extra weight, but my word is she strong. Asefa attacks just before the water jump, doesn't look too fluid over that, but comes into the straight now with Ayalu still chasing hard between these 2 Ethiopian rivals. The 1-2 is definitely sewn up with Coburn some 30 metres or so down in 3rd place, but there's going to be no stopping Asefa now. She pushes on strongly towards the line. The gap is growing with every stride. Look at the clock. It will be the fastest time in the world this year. It was 9:19. Now it's 9:11:41. Asefa wins there very comfortably indeed from Ayalu, and Emma Coburn crosses the line there. Fabulous in 3rd place, and her time at 9:18 we reckon, so she will have set yet another personal best after leading for some of the critical stages in the middle of the race. A fabulous run from Emma Coburn, but Sophia Asefa on this occasion with a world leading time by some 8 seconds, improving that world best, by the way. A comfortable winner, and looks very pleased with it indeed. The wind still gusting strongly here. I suspect it was in their faces pretty strongly, Steve, up the back straight. So that performance, 9:11 from Asefa, well, it's only a couple of seconds outside her personal best. She's certainly worth quicker.
Yeah, you're right, Tim. And Sefa, that personal best was set in Oslo. This may well have been a better run. And you saw that I was talking about technique there. Sefa's not always the best of the two in terms of hurdling. I wouldn't say either of them are brilliant. To be honest, Coburn of the three is by far the better hurdler over the barriers. But she wasn't able to stay with the surge on the last couple of laps that these two were able to produce. And Sefa just deciding with 200 to go, I'm going to really attack these last 2 or 3 barriers. And that's the way to do it. You know, try and get a good sight, try and get ahead. That's going to give you so much more opportunity. And Ayalu not really able to get anything going, then chopping into that water jump, and then over the final barrier. You can see Coburn in the background there, really good technique, but not the speed that these two have. And Sefa, I wouldn't say it's blistering pace, but certainly good enough. And that's a great win and a good time. All three of them really good performances. A meeting record for the Ethiopian.
Well, celebrating with the crowd here in Hayward Field, which is reminiscent of some of the great Scandinavian stadia, where the crowd are really close up against lane 8. They can almost reach out and touch the athletes, and it creates a real intimacy, which makes this facility so special. A meeting record and world-leading time for Sophia Assefa, 9:11.39. And one could say normal service is resumed, because Emma Coburn's time at the top of the world rankings is over.
This is Augusto Dutra and the pole vault, about 5.63, and that's good. That's much better. He came in at 5.43, had 2 failures earlier on, but then he was first time over 5.53, first time over 5.63 as well. Men's pole vault, we do have Renaud Lavillenie here, and this caused an awful lot of excitement. Of course, the man who vaulted to 6.16 in the indoor season. Everyone hoping that he can get close to 6 meters here. But Dutra, first clear at 5.63.
Well, we can confirm the result of that 3,000-meter steeplechase for you now. There it is, Sophia Assefa, a world-leading time and the meeting record, 9:11.39 from Ayalu, who was just half a second or so down, or perhaps more than that. Emma Coburn in 3rd place, a new personal best for her. And in the diamond race standings, Assefa has accumulated 6 points now to Coburn's 5. Ayalu in 3rd place.
So we began with the women's 1 lap over the hurdles, now to the flat, and you can see there the diamond race leaders, Noveline Williams-Mills, and outside her, Sanya Richards-Ross. That's perhaps the 2 best known of the athletes here, but it's a very, very good field. And of course, Amante Moncho, former world champion, will also be in this. So Lebania Greno from Italy on the inside. Ran a 300 personal best a couple of weeks ago, 36.82. We might give her a little bit of confidence, but she's in lane 1. Now, Natasha Hastings ran really well. Of course, a lot of these athletes fresh from having been to the World Relay Challenge. What a big success that was in the Bahamas, in Nassau. She ran the 2nd leg for the victorious American team, and 50 flat on that leg, so that's a little better than the form she'd been showing so far this year. Admittedly, it's a relay. Stephanie Ann McPherson, 4th at the World Championships last year. The American, strong member of their relay squad. Well, there's Amante Moncho. Must have thought, of course, that she had the world title last year in Moscow when Christina Hurrigu of Great Britain really took it away in the last few inches of the race. But Moncho not been in such good form so far this year. Was 2nd in Shanghai. Francina Makarori was also in that race in 4th place. Her season's best 50.24. No one under 50 seconds this year, but Williams-Mills well capable of it, and indeed in that World Relay Challenge, a very quick split from her. She ran the 2nd leg for Jamaica, ran 49.7. And Sanya Richards-Ross looks to me as though she is beginning to come back into the sort of form that made her Olympic champion, a world champion. And isn't it good to see her back? She's a very popular figure, of course, in US track and field. On the outside, Joanna Atkins. Again, another who ran in those very successful relay championships. Of course, Americans, particularly the American collegiate system, big on relays. So we've got Greno on the inside, then there's Hastings, Natasha Hastings, McPherson of Jamaica, and we've got Moncho of Botswana, McRory of USA, Noveline Williams-Mills, perhaps the slight favourite here in 6, Richards-Ross in 7, and Joanna Atkins on the outside. Crowd just supporting the triple jump at the minute. I'm not surprised. The crowd were obviously got their eyes on that, particularly in the home straight, and perhaps not realising the race was about to get underway. It's not really fair on the athletes. Great crowd in here. There are hardly a spare seat to be had. And there's a stand, temporary stand, put in place right down near the start of the 400 metres. The 2 stands at Haywood Field, which have been here for so many years, and not the biggest stadium in the world, but certainly creates a great atmosphere. So Williams-Mills will have, I'm sure, a wary eye on Sonia Richards-Ross. Still only 29 years of age, the American. She's been so good for so long. Here she is. .48.7, a personal best back in 2006. A long hold on the set, but no false start. Williams-Mills was away really slowly in lane 6, and Sonia Richards-Ross has started pretty quickly. And now Noveline Williams-Mills trying to get moving down the back stretch. She likes to take it out hard through the first 200 metres. Also going well on the right. On the outside is Atkins in lane 8, running free, not being able to see anybody. Perhaps Atkins has run the quickest of the first 200. And Williams-Mills taking the stagger out of Richards-Ross and moving alongside her. So the Jamaican, perhaps with the advantage, as Atkins starts to fade on the outside. Williams-Mills will come into the home straight with a metre or 2 advantage. Sonia Richards-Ross trying to hang on to McPherson in lane 3, going well, and so is Natasha Hastings finishing quickly. Noveline Williams-Mills just starting to tie up a little bit here, coming under attack from McPherson. Williams-Mills may just about hang on here. Williams-Mills just gets it, and finishing quickly in lane 5 was McRory taking 2nd place. 50.41 the winning time. Well, I'm a little surprised, Tim. I thought we might see something a little quicker. Perhaps that breeze on the back straight is having a little effect, more effect than we might realise. But she certainly went hard through the first 200, looked good to about 250, 260. And then as she was coming in the home straight for me, was just starting to tie up a little bit. But the others haven't really gone with her. And if you'd said you'd win this race in 50.4, I think 1 or 2 others might have fancied their chances.
Well, 50-40, but certainly Williams-Mills had in fact a target in the figure of Sonia Richards-Ross, who did go off fast, and to be closing down on her around that second bend shows how aggressively she ran her first 250. She looked very strong here, good form from Williams-Mills. Really compact, powerful little athlete, isn't she? Trying to hold her form well there. I was surprised at Monchot, top of picture there in the red, who faded in the last 50 metres, and really strong running from McRory there in the blue coming through. She made up metres on the rest of the field there, couldn't quite close down on Williams-Mills there, but did take a strong 2nd place. But what a good run from Noveline Williams-Mills at the age of 32. That's very close to her season's best. And I'm sure you're right, Steve. I think the wind is a factor here.
Winning time then, 50.40. First 5 under 51 seconds, but Moncho, as Tim was saying, not the athlete she was last year, certainly. Hastings with the season's best in 4th place. So that's 2 wins for Williams-Mills, leading the diamond race. Early stages yet, of course, in the season.
Well, we can go back to the triple jump now, and Will Clay, of course, booming out to 17.42 in the 2nd round. His first round effort was a no jump, but Will Clay in very fine form indeed. He had a 2.2 wind behind him, just over the legal limit. Did Will Clay for that round 2 effort. The world indoor champion in 2012, the Olympic silver medalist in 2012. Back to something like his best, and that's another monster! Oh my word! The crowd loving this one. He's just here in front of the main stand and has got a really good audience. It's packed here at Hayward Field. And Will Clay there has gone out surely beyond 17.50. Lovely rhythm. Really exploits the double arm shift there in the final stage. Very, very well indeed. And a 17 metres 66 is a meeting record there for Will Clay in the third round. Throws the gauntlet down at the halfway point, and it'll be very hard for them to come back and respond to that. In second place at the moment, well, he's got a gap of over half a metre. Very close to it anyway. In fact, Lookman Adams just checking 17.29 in the first round.
This is Christian Taylor, and what a performance from Will Clay. That'll give something to think about. You can see there Taylor, as I said earlier, really concentrating on 400 metres to find effect this year, but he does want to carry on with his triple jumping, but yet to get up to 17 metres today. Well, that's close. Nowhere near what Clay's doing. That's not bad, not by his standards, I guess, but he used to make going over 17 metres look so easy and straightforward. So Christian Taylor just struggling a little bit. That breeze just picking up again. Olympic champion, coached by Rainer Ryder, training in the UK in Loughborough with the sprints group now. Well, there you go, just underneath 17 metres, 16.96, the win plus 2.2. Puts Taylor in second place.
Well, we go back to the track for the men's 100 metres. That's the next discipline. 3 of the top 4 in the world at the moment are in this race. The blue ribbon event, of course. And there are the names. Justin Gatlin goes in lane 3, the world number 1, the Olympic champion back in 2004. Yes, 10 years ago now. Nesta Carter beside him in lane 4. You believe he's the 5th fastest man in history, Nesta Carter, although his medals all come from the relays. He's never really lived up to that billing when it comes to individual racing. Well, Maurice Mitchell there goes in lane 1, a semi-finalist in the Olympic 200 metres, the American, in 2012. In good form, close to his personal best at Joplin back in late April. Over 100 with 10.08. How can he do here? Jimmy Vico, the European indoor 60 metres champion last year. Vico in fine form. He's run a recent personal best of 9.95. He's world number 3. He goes in 2. There is Gatlin. He's won here 3 times before, in 2005 and on the last 2 occasions, 2012 and 2013. Twice world indoor champion, Olympic champion, as I said, in 2004, and still in good form at 32. There is Nesta Carter. He goes in lane 4, the Jamaican. Second in Shanghai to Gatlin in 10.12, but Gatlin won there by a couple of metres in 9.92. A very comfortable win it was. Mike Rogers goes in lane 5. He's a good performer, Rogers. 9.85 his best from 3 years ago. Third in Shanghai behind Gatlin and Carter, so a real rematch this. Then Nikhil Ashmead, another Jamaican, he goes in lane 6. 5th in the last 2 World Championships, in 2011 at 200, and last year in Moscow, 5th in the 100. Zhang Peimang of China, the Asian champion in 2009. He was 4th in Beijing 2 weeks ago. His personal best, 10 seconds exactly from last year. And the lineup completed by the South African, the new name, Simon Magakwe. He's 29 years old, but he's broached new ground this year, going under 10 seconds with 9.94 for a national record. That was on the 12th of April, just at the end of the South African season in Pretoria. What can he do here now in the Northern Hemisphere season, albeit just at the end of May? So that lineup again as they load themselves into their blocks. Mitchell in 1, Vico, the top European, in fine form. He's in 2, the Frenchman. Gatlin 3, Carter in 4, Rogers in 5, Ashmead 6, Zhang 7, Magakwe in lane 8. Very good start there from Gatlin, 3rd from right in the blue, and also Carter going well too, beside him in yellow. It's between these 3 at the moment. Rogers with a headband coming through strongly nearer the camera, but Gatlin's going to take it by half a metre from Rogers and Carter, and the time, 9.77. Oh, the win just over the legal limit, 10 plus 2.7. What a shame, but nonetheless, it's fabulous sprinting from Justin Gatlin. 9.77. If that wind had just been a little weaker, down towards the legal limit of 2 meters per second, I'm sure it'd have been under 9.9. It would have been somewhere in the mid 9.8s. So he's denied the full credit for that time, which on paper looks like the quickest in the world this year. But his 9.87 from Beijing a couple of weeks ago remains the quickest in the world this year. But wasn't he quick out of the blocks? Steve, he had a race in his hands though, didn't he? Rogers coming through very strongly, Carter over the first half.
Yeah, I agree. You know, he's always good, pretty good out of the blocks. Gatlin, just watch it here. Controversial figure still. Carter perhaps best as ever. Carter's such a brilliant starter. Rogers had lost a meter or so, but finished strongly. Carter fading there. And the two Americans just pulling away. And Gatlin, well, he's not to know. He's away on his lap of honour. He won't know what the wind reading is. We get it straight away up here, so he may well be thinking he's run. It's actually come up as 9.76, but Jimmy Vico going well as well, the French talent, just alongside Gatlin. But he's dominant at the moment. Of course, yet to see Blake and, of course, Mr. Bolt enter the fray, really. Blake just looking forward, I know, to some big races in the next week or two. But Gatlin at the moment is certainly the world's #1 at 100 metres.
9.76, in fact, it's rounded down by 1/100th of a second, sharpened up a little bit, but just over that legal limit. But the times behind him are spectacular. 9.80 Rogers, Vico 9.89, Carter in 4th, 9.89, and Nickel Ashmead in 5th, 9.95. Confirmation of that win for Justin Gatlin, 9.76 from Mike Rogers and Jimmy Vico in 3rd place behind the American brace. And a quick look at the points. Gatlin leads the diamond race with 8 points from Rogers and Carter at the moment.
Not to be outdone in the field, the treble jump has been marvellous competition for Will Clay. And Christian Taylor, maybe getting a little bit inspired by that. The very last round, Christian Taylor finally getting one together. That's a huge effort from the Olympic champion. I said he's concentrating in 400 metres this year, but goodness me, that's a great effort. Now, Clay, after a 17.42 in the second round and a 17.66 in the third round, decided not to jump again. And a 17.42 it came up as for Christian Taylor. 17.42. The wind is picking up all of the time, so it's not a legal mark, just over that 2 metre limit, plus 2.6. That means that a legal 17.66 is a new meeting record for Will Clay. That season's best for Taylor, and Adams, after that early lead in the first round, having to settle for 3rd. Adams then still with that one win and 3rd place, leading the diamond race with 5 points from Clay.
Well, it's still a beautiful afternoon here, but the wind in that 100 metres really does show all too clearly what a debilitating effect it can have in the lap races or the multi-lap races. Plus 2.7 in that men's 100 metres. So it is blowing away from the camera as you look down the home straight there towards the board at the far end of the flag. The crowd, though, in the shade on this lovely warm afternoon. It was 21 degrees as we came on air, 45 minutes or so ago. And no reason to think it's got any cooler, so I suspect the breeze is rather welcome.
It's nice if you're sitting in the sun anyway. Men's 400. Great lineup here. London Gordon of Trinidad and Tobago on the inside. Josh Mance will be going in 2. You saw Tony McQuay of USA. And then LaShawn Merritt and Kirani James in lanes 4 and 5. Renewing their great rivalry, although Merritt's certainly on top at the moment. We've also got Chris Brown in there. Martin Rooney from Great Britain been added as a bit of a late addition, had 1 or 2 withdrawals during the week. And as we've been mentioning, they'll not enjoy the fact that this breeze is picking up all of the time down that back straight. So Gordon, 2 Olympic bronze medalists in London individually and in the relay. He hasn't really produced that sort of form so far this year. Josh Mance in lane 2. Another fine relay runner, still developing, just 22 years of age. Tony McQuay, well, he was in the Bahamas as part of that great USA team last week. 44.1, he ran on leg 2 in the final. Not as good as this man though. LaShawn Merritt was timed at 43.8. Olympic and world champion 2008-2009. Of course, it was this young man, Kirani James, took the Olympic title and indeed the world title when as an 18-year-old in Daegu. Mazrahi, American-based Saudi Arabian, strong runner, got a bit of an 800 background as well, coached by John Smith. Chris Brown of the Bahamas, well, how much did he enjoy his country hosting perhaps the biggest athletics event they've ever had, and would have been proud of his own team. The Olympic champions in the relay didn't quite pip the Americans. And Britain, a bit disappointed, I think, with their performance, but not this man, Martin Rooney, on the final leg. He ran a 44-2 split as well, Martin Rooney, so finds himself in lane 8. As I said, just got the nod on, I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, to get the lane here. So Merritt once more taking on Kirani James. He's just been struggling to find his form. Ran a pretty good 200, Kirani James, in Tokyo. Not too far off his best, 20.63. Given that his best was set at altitude a couple of years ago, then probably a good indication that maybe his speed is coming together. If he's going to take on Merritt here, he will have to do something quick. The fastest in the world so far this year, 44.14 by Merritt. But this wind, something to contend with. So Merritt in 4, James in 5. Good clean start. Merritt perhaps just starting just the quicker. Tony McQuay going well in lane 3 as well, and right on the outside Chris Brown is starting quickly in lane 7 in the orange. Martin Rooney out in lane 8, running blind pretty much. Got to go hard through that first 200 metres, and Kirani James now trying to stretch through this first 200 ahead of Merritt. Maybe has a half-metre lead, but not much to choose between the two big stars here. Chris Brown still going well in 7. McQuay faded badly in lane 3, but now it's Merritt just starting to come under the shoulder of Kirani James, and Merritt and James together neck and neck in. Kirani James giving Merritt a real run here. Now Kirani James, can he get ahead of Merritt? It's going to go right to the line here. Who's going to get it? It's James, I think, just on the line. 43.98. Just outside the meeting record. It will be the quickest in the world this year. What a great race from these two. Absolutely superb. It's been Merritt all the way so far this year, but not now. Kirani James, I said that 200-metre time might have been significant. He wasn't going to let Merritt take advantage through the first part of the race. They came into the home straight, stride for stride, shoulder to shoulder, neck and neck all the way. But James getting the victory. They've been given exactly the same time, but the nod on the photo finish has been given to the man from Grenada. Merritt all smiles, but he wouldn't have enjoyed that. He'd be happy with the time, but not losing out to the youngster.
Boy, oh boy, that will go down as one of the great 400s. 43.97 for the pair of them. James, you were right, Steve, came into the straight with probably about 6 inches lead. Now, Merritt in recent races has just eased away from the Olympic champion over this last 60 or 70 metres. But look at Kirani James, every sinew straining to stay up with Merritt. And as they get to the line, look at the dip there from James. He gets it by, well, less than an inch, I reckon, and it came down to the dip. That was an astonishing battle between the big pair in lanes 4 and 5. Merritt will be smarting that he lost that one. He was world number 1. Maybe that status now is wavering.
Well, there's the evidence. Not much in it at all. It's thousandths of a second to separate the two. Of course, that photo favouring the person on the near side, which was James. They look at it from both sides, but he's been given the verdict. World lead. They both equal the world lead, of course, because they won't use the thousandths. They've both been given that time of 43.97. Mazrahi with a season's best, in fact, 4 seasons best, all the way down to Rooney in 6th place behind those two at the front. What a performance from both of them, but James will be absolutely delighted with that.
Well, we can go over to the pole vault now, where Renaud Lavillenie, the world record holder, of course, is in action. And in glorious conditions, perhaps the wind a little bit of a disadvantage for the vaulters, although they have got the wind behind them. So Lavillenie in fine fettle, had a shake at 5.63, cleared that second time. It goes clear there at 5.80, does Lavillenie. That one just a few minutes ago. In fact, that is his clearance of 5.63 a little while ago. The competition has moved on somewhat from that. You can see the margin of clearance was absolutely massive, although he did scrape the bar on the way down. He's just not getting quite the right penetration across the line of the bar. The high point was in front of the bar, and adjustments will need to be made at the bigger heights. Lavillenie, though, that one, as I said, quite some while ago.
Yeah, it's been a difficult competition out there. I think conditions are having some effects. The likes of Moore struggling, Philippidis struggling. So there's only 3 men went clear. We saw Dutra earlier on, clear 5.63. After Lavillenie went clear, only Kudlicka, the Czech Republic, Volta, able to match the two of them. So only 3 men clear at 5.63. And everybody, perhaps with the exception of Lavillenie, really struggling out there today. Shake of the head, but at that point he was clear, and as I said, with only 3 men clear at that height, well, at least he's guaranteed of a top 3 place.
Next event on the track, the women's 1,500 meters. They're limbering up over on the back straight. It's a very high caliber race, this one, including the last 2 world champions in the figures of Sweden's Abeba Aragari from Moscow last year, and Jenny Simpson from Daegu in 2011. Hannah England, of course, the silver medalist behind Simpson 3 years ago in South Korea. Look out for Brenda Martinez too, the fast finishing American who was the bronze medalist last year in Moscow at 800 meters. Kipyegon, another name to watch. She's strong, 5th at the World Championships last year. Hilali of Morocco, 4th in the World Indoors just a couple of months back. Prenier Moser, the oldest in the race at 32, coached by Alberto Salazar. She was 5th in the World Indoors, just 1 place behind Hilali. Aragawi, the undisputed world #1 at the moment. She is world champion. She won in Shanghai in the world's fastest time this year in 3:58 a couple of weeks ago. And there is Jenny Simpson, the silver medalist last year in Moscow. Very close to going under 4 minutes in Shanghai a fortnight back. That was where she was beaten by Aragawi. Look out for Helen Obiri there, the Kenyan. Fascinating clash this. She was in fabulous form 3 weeks ago in Doha when she won the 3,000 meters in a very fast 8 minutes 20. Hannah England in good form. She's been training up at altitude at Park City. How will she come off that month of hard training? Hassan of the Netherlands, the 21-year-old, 5th at the World Indoors over 3,000. She's strong. Zoe Buckman, the Australian, had a great year in 2013, 7th in the World Championships in Moscow. She moved on well, as did indeed Brenda Martinez. Under the coaching of Joe Vigil. She has looked a lot stronger as an 800, 1,500 meter combination runner this last couple of years. And Elise Cranny and Phoebe Wright will assist with the pace. Elise Cranny there, just 18 years old. Phoebe Wright, who ran in one of the 800 meter races last night, just outside 2 minutes. So how we'd love this wind just to ease off a bit, because as they start there at the beginning of the back straight, they'll be running into the wind for the first 100, 150 meters. Hassan has a personal best of 4:01. That was in Shanghai just a fortnight ago, so she's in good form indeed. There are 4 or 5 women in this race who are knocking on the door of the 4-minute barrier, and that, of course, is such a convenient and significant time for the ladies in over 1,500. Well, away they go. 4 minutes, by the way, for 1,500 is 64 seconds per lap exactly. Very easy to compute. The pacemakers need to be hitting something like 63 and then 2:06, 2:07 to get this field on sub 4 minute timing. Phoebe Wright and Jenny Simpson slotting in right behind her. Simpson, of course, quite an aggressive runner. Likes a healthy pace, just Jenny Simpson. Had a little falter in 2012, didn't really do herself any favours in Olympic year, but has come back in fine form through last year and into this season. She's looked tremendously strong as Jenny Simpson, and I'm sure here she will really want to challenge Aragawi. She won't want to give in to the dominance that the Swede has displayed over this last year, and it's quick. Simpson, Aragawi, Obiri in 4th place. And then Hilali has locked into 5th place, and it's single file already after 350 metres.
Well, it's going to be interesting, Tim, to see what sort of tactics Aragawi employs here. That's a very fast first 400 metres. They were asked for 2.6. But there are some questions about whether Aragawi just wants to win here and will let the pacemakers, once they've dropped, we might see it just slow off a little bit. I hope we don't, because with the likes of Kipyegon, Obiri, I think they should push on and put Aragawi under some pressure. She's looks as though she's happy to go with the pace, Aragawi, in the right place where you'd expect her to be, but they're well strung out here. That tells you one thing, it's fast.
They come round with just over 2 laps to run, and Phoebe Wright's done a good job here. 62.3 for her. It means most of the pack will have gone through in around 63 and a half seconds. Jenny Simpson setting herself up here, because when Wright is gone, she'll be out in front with the big names breathing down her neck. 2 laps to run, 1:51 there. It's certainly slow. That was about a 64 through to that point. And Simpson now chomping at the bit, moving onto the shoulder of Phoebe Wright. Aragawi still in 3rd place, shadowing the American. Obiri moving up round the outside. Maybe Phoebe Wright needs to step aside now as she reaches 800 metres. 2:08, yes, a 65.7 that second lap.
Well, there's still plenty there with chances. I said I thought it would slow down a little bit, and it's really what happens now. And isn't it good to see Simpson taking it on? Aragawi not really interested, said she just wants to win this. I think she sees Simpson as a big danger, and Obiri's decided enough is enough. I want to go with Simpson here. So Simpson keeping the force, keeping the pace going, forcing the issue here. Not always the best position you want to be in, but she's recognising the form that she's in and wants to really ask the questions of the others here. So Obiri sitting behind Aragawi in 3rd at the moment.
Well, the pace is very quick. Brenda Martinez moving up round the outside with us. Hassan on her shoulder, trying to get on terms with them is Martinez. But Simpson's kept the pace very honest. They come to the bell now. What's it going to show? Way under 3 minutes. 2:56, there or thereabouts. Anything close to 62, 63 seconds here. We'll see a sub-4 minute timing. And Simpson is making it honest. 300 metres to run. She's driving on strongly into the back straight. Obiri and Aragawi and the rest of them beginning to wilt now under this assault from Simpson down the back straight. 63 that 3rd lap. Simpson has really laid it on the line there on the penultimate lap. Is she going to struggle here? Obiri pumping hard with the arms. We know she's got the strength, the Kenyan, of that big win in Doha. And she goes past Simpson, who begins to fade. Aragawi, who has looked supreme and so dominant over 1,500 metres in recent months, moves onto the shoulder of the Kenyan. Remember, Aragawi slaughtered them at the World Indoors. She won so easily in Sopot, Poland. And now they ease away from Jenny Simpson, who's run so bravely. Hassan in 4th place. But there's a battle royal up front, and it's coming down to strength. And it's the Kenyan Obiri who stays clear. Aragawi is beaten on this occasion. Look at that, a 3 metre winning margin, and look at the time, 60.8 that final lap. 3:57.05 unofficially the winning time from Obiri. It confirmed that it was a strength type race, not down to a sprint finish. And thanks to Jenny Simpson, perhaps, Obiri, they're using every ounce of the strength we saw so well in Doha 2 weeks back to beat the Swede Aragawi, the former Ethiopian, into 2nd place. The world champion at 1,500, beaten on this occasion.
Well, what a great race, and hats off to Obiri, the great 3,000 she ran, obviously given indication of her strength, and goodness me did she need it here. Simpson, as Tim was saying, really helped here, took the issue to them, pushed it on. Aragawi happy to let Obiri sit in the box seat, if you like, but that meant that she had to find something extra, and she couldn't. It was strength at the end. It really wasn't pace, because they were running so fast. 3:57, big personal bests, national records behind all of those athletes. Simpson well under 4 minutes. Kipyegon, the youngster, running 3:58 again. Just a brilliant race, and given that there's a little bit of a breeze out there, I mean, it would have slowed things a little bit, but a whole host of big performances behind a brilliant win, a new meeting record, world lead, all of that for Hellen Obiri. What a year she may well have in store for her.
The win for Hellen Obiri in the 1,500 metres, the world leading time 3:57.05, ahead of Aragawi, and leading 5 women under 4 minutes on this occasion. A huge personal best for 2011 world champion Jenny Simpson in 4th place. Well, conditions must be improving out there. That's a spectacular run of the in the women's 1,500 metres, despite the breeze.
Well, that breeze has really I think caused problems for all of the pole vaulters. Lavillenie yesterday was chatting about he really was looking forward to this. He was going to go off his full approach. He said, I'm ready to vault big. Of course, superb form in the indoor season. And he really was looking forward to this. He was talking about, though, the difference between outdoor and indoors. He says you just cannot allow, you don't know what conditions are going to bring you. That's why they all prefer indoors. Of course they do. It's just made things a little difficult. And even Lavillenie, that's a good clearance, though. 480, and nobody really able to match him today. You wouldn't have expected it anyway, but even at this height for him, which should be fairly straightforward, and it is, second attempt at this height. The others, I'm afraid 563 was the best they can do. So Dutra and Kudlicka went no further. So he's won the competition, just a question whether he can go higher.
Well, a chance now to look at the women's high jump. Anna Simic going here at 1.92 m. A clean card for the Croatian here. This the first attempt for the 24-year-old who has 11 national titles. She won in Shanghai with 1.97 and makes light work of that one. Gives it a little clip, but keeps her clean card at this stage, does the Croatian. And maintaining first place. Well, Brigitte Barrett, 1.92, final attempt. She'd had a clean card up to this height. But Brigitte Barrett, no, not a good day at the office for the American. Still all smiles, the Olympic silver medalist from 2012. But season's best of 1.93 remains season's best. And way off the form that saw her jump 2.04 last year.
Chantillo, third attempt at 1.92. Of course, Chantillo, now 30 years of age, former world indoor champion. Trying to take advantage of one or two others struggling, but she has to get over this. Just 1.92, no. Really, you can say she attacked it, but never had the height there. Didn't look as though that was full commitment from Chantillo. 1.88. That's not a good performance from her.
Well, back in the pole vault, Renaud Lavillenie clearing 5.80 at the second attempt. And it hasn't been a great day for him. Not one of those days where everything really runs smoothly. But Lavillenie at 5.90, closing his competition down. He was already the winner with that second time clearance at 5.80. Four athletes going out, no less, at 5.73 m. Dutra, Kudlicka, Hulstepper and Brad Walker. But Lavillenie in clearly challenging conditions. That breeze must have been creating problems over there on the back straight. Winning on this occasion with 5.80 m. And 3 failures at 5.90, ending his day. Well, that world record of 6 meters 16 back in the middle of February remains the out-and-out world record. It's always there in the back of his mind, I suppose. These are simple heights for a man of his caliber.
Yeah, a little disappointing, I think, for the crowd as well. We're hoping Lavillenie could produce something special, as you'd expect, leading the diamond race, of course, and so dominant at the moment in this event.
And confirmation of that win for Renaud Lavillenie, 5.80 m for the Frenchman. The Brazilian Augusto Dutra, 5.63 with the season's best in second. Kudlicka of the Czech Republic, 5.63 as well in third.
Next on the track will be the men's 110 hurdles, but there's still plenty of field action going on. Let's just try and catch up a little bit with the men's javelin. So there's Kim Am from Sweden. The very first throw of the competition. Of course, in this we've got Keshawn Walcott, the young Olympic champion, the Trinidadian who's Had such a fantastic competition in London. Torkelson, the great veteran. But, these conditions maybe just making things a little bit tricky, but Kimam in the early rounds well below 80 meters there for the Swede. We've also got Vasily Tarabin to look forward to. Just 8 men in the competition. 77.36.
And there you go on the board.
Dmitry Tarabin then the second throw for the Russian. Well, the roar was world class. The throw was pretty solid too. He opened with a 76.5 meter effort. That one from Tarabin coming down at around 78 meters. World Championship bronze medalist in front of the home crowd last year in Moscow. Still only 22. He's young by the standards of this discipline where age counts for so much. Torkelson in this competition, remember, the double world champion from Norway, 32 years old now. That from Tarabin after his 76.54 opener, coming down at 78 meters 45. And that taking the lead at this stage.
So 110 hurdles will be the next event on the track, and a really interesting field. We've had a late withdrawal, unfortunately. Aries Merritt had to pull out sometime overnight. You saw him at the hotel yesterday. There's been a bit of a shift around. Jeff Porter has come in. He'll be in lane 8, as you saw there. Merritt, not, of course, a world record holder, but not in that sort of form, and has been struggling with injuries the last 2 seasons, really. Interesting character, of course, the man who has dominated so long in the decathlon. Ashton Eaton says he's so looking forward to rubbing shoulders with these great high hurdlers. He's going to be in lane 1. He's really having a season where he's, if anything, concentrating on the 400 hurdles. Is still doing the decathlon, is training for his events, but he's already run pretty quick, sub 50, and he's looking for, well, perhaps a new personal best here. 13.35, Eaton's best. That's not bad at all, is it, for a decathlete? We'll have Shibenkov in this. David Oliver will be in lane 3, a man who's dominating so much. That'll be coming up in a second. Here's Chicherova in the high jump.
Chernova then under pressure. Third and final attempt at 1 meter 97 for the Russian Chicherova. Has hit a block at this height in effect. One of the great jumpers, the 207 jumper at her very best. The equal third highest jumper in history. Olympic champion, of course, the Russian. World champion the year before that. Pressure. Oh, yes. And how she responded to that. You see the margin of clearance. You think to yourself, how on earth did she fail it on the first 2 attempts? I mean, she's boomed over that. There's 5-6 inches of daylight between Chicherova and the bar, and so there should be. That looked very comfortable indeed, didn't it?
Well, the men have been out there a little while, but they are just being held a little. That breeze we've been talking about, of course, beginning to have an effect on the sprint time. Such a pity, really. We've had some really good performances, and the wind has just occasionally gone over the 2 meters per second, which is, of course, the crucial mark in terms of legal times or legal jumps. And this 110 hurdles field is certainly good enough to produce something good here. Parchment, the man who's the fastest in the world, 13.14. He's going to be in lane 4 in the, just shaking his legs out in the blue. So there's Eaton, Olympic decathlon champion, world record holder, of course. That world record he actually set here in the decathlon in the Olympic year, 9,039 points. A 13.35 hurdler. The European champion from 2 years ago will be defending his title in Zurich this summer, Sergei Shibenkov of Russia. The world champion from last year. What a great season he had, David Oliver, 4th fastest of all time at this event, 12.89, that's 4 years ago now. Parchment has had a good season so far. He's unbeaten. He's only had a couple of races, though. First time he's really taken on Oliver. Ryan Wilson finally got a medal at the World Championships last year at the age of 33. Now turning his hand to coaching, doing very well at that also. Martino Lagarde, the tall Frenchman, has been moved into lane 6. He was second in the Shanghai Diamond League with the season's best of 13:26. Then we've got this man, a former world champion in that race in Daegu. Any track fans will remember that. There were hurdles all over the place. And, disqualifications. Jason Richardson, great on that day. And then, as I said, Jeff Porter being brought in as a late replacement for the world record holder, Aris Merritt. Men's 110-meter hurdles. And Oliver and Parchment, the two to watch in lanes 3 and 4. As I said, Parchment's world best so far, 13.14. Can we see something under 13 seconds here?
Yeah.
Oliver gets away smartly, right alongside him. Parchment started well, and also Martino Lagarde, the indoor special. Martino Lagarde perhaps leading us at the moment. Oliver's got a bit of a struggle on. Martino Lagarde in lane 6 has got this, or has he? Oliver coming back. Martino Lagarde gets it! 13.15. That's a huge improvement for the Frenchman. Goodness me, he's got talent, we know that. He runs well indoors and outdoors. He's getting better all of the time, but that's a big, big win for the Frenchman. Huge scouts he's getting there. He would never normally expect to beat Oliver. Oliver got out well. Martino Lagarde was right there all along. But there's the Europeans together congratulating each other. 13.13. What a run. He's really been having a great year. I said 13.26 in Shanghai, and now he's backed it up with that. That's a bit of a shot there, Tim, but what a run from the Frenchman.
Well, that's exactly right, and he was away from all the battle of the action in the middle of the track, wasn't he? Down there in lane 6. But Lagarde there, head down, has this funny style, almost forward lean maintained throughout the race. He just got a jump on Oliver in the early stages and never gave up. It's a shame, really, they were separated by 2 or 3 lanes, because Oliver over in lane 3 there, in the black, didn't look entirely comfortable. He's leaning over towards the right of his lane, almost clashing with Parchment beside him there in the red and blue. But that's a fabulous run for Martino Lagarde. He knows it. 13.15. Oliver will be angry with himself, because that wasn't a great run from him technically. Well, Martino Lagarde making it a good day for the French. Victory for him in the 110-meter hurdles. His compatriot Jimmy Vico, a good third in the 100 meters half an hour or so ago, behind Justin Gatlin. French athletics with Renaud Lavillenie, of course, in very good form, and several female stars in pretty good shape these days. The Paris Diamond League meeting in a few weeks' time is one of the great stops on the Midsummer Tour. And certainly athletes like Martino Lagarde will raise their game, I'm sure, in front of the home crowd in the Stade de France. And Lavillenie there, happy to celebrate with his compatriot. A pair of them producing a brace of wins for the French.
Well, we'll tidy up that 110 hurdles. Back with the javelin. This is Tarabin in the 3rd round. Huge draw, as we heard earlier. And you can see, let you get going. That's better. Tarabin watching that one out there. After a little bit of an indifferent start, really, this javelin event finally starting to get moving here. Bronze medalist in Moscow last year. Look at him. He knew it, didn't he? That was much, much better. Right out to that 80-meter mark. And that then takes the lead, 80 meters and 28, Dmitry Tarabin. It's only 80 meters, though, and plenty of men capable of going further.
Oh, Vitaly Veselý of the Czech Republic, way down on his best form with his opening 2 throws, 72 and 74 meters respectively, seeing him languishing down in 7th place. Veselý desperately needing an improvement. And that one looks better. It looks better. It looks much better from Vesely. That's huge. Tarabin, remember, 80 metres 28, but that has gone way, way beyond the leading mark so far. That's 3 metres better and more. And Vesely will be thinking to himself, that's more like it. The first 2 efforts were almost embarrassing. 83.75. He improves by some 9 metres plus over his previous best. Well, Vesely very pleased with that. Torkildsen, his first competition of the year, this, Stephen.
Yeah, I actually saw him in warm-up. He's very relaxed, as he always is. Torkildsen really been struggling over the last 2 or 3 years, really. And, well, when he watches the likes of Vesely popping it out there, that was only good enough for to go just beyond 80 metres. So the world lead for Martin Olaga, just outside his personal best, just by 100th of a second. Parchment just getting the nod over Oliver for second place. Season's best behind. Wilson a little quicker. Shubenkov also. But that's a bit of a shock there for the Frenchman to take the victory in the high hurdles. That's good for him, though. That's 3 good performances, I guess, on that race. And the 110 hurdles, that diamond race, looks like being a good one throughout the year.
Well, you're looking across towards the 200 metres start area. It is the women's half-lap race now. There's the lineup. Bowie, Gardner, Tamo, Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, the world champion, of course, Muriel Ahure of the Ivory Coast, who's in good form, Okubare and Alison Felix. And then Kimberly Duncan completes the lineup. There is Kimberly Duncan out in lane 8, the NCAA champion over 200 metres last year. She was 3rd in Shanghai with 22.96. Inside her, Alison Felix, talking to her yesterday, she said that the hamstring injury which ended her season in Moscow last year in that 200 metres final took a long, long time to mend. She was having rehab for some 3 or 4 months, and she said she still gets some pain from it. Alison Felix, there she is, the Olympic champion in 2012, 3-time world champion, but still on the way back. Blessing Okubare goes inside her for Nigeria in lane 6. Benham's a long jumper, world championship silver medalist last year, Olympic bronze medalist back in 2008, but she's in great form. She won the 200 and the long jump in Shanghai. There's Muriel Ahure, the Little Ivory Coast athlete, so world indoor championship silver medalist over 60 metres. Good form at 100. This is her first outdoor 200 of the season. Shelley-Ann Fraser-Price, the Jamaican, the greatest sprinter in the world at the moment, the Olympic champion at 100 metres in 2008 and in London 2012. 3 golds in Moscow last summer at 100, 200 and in the relay for the Jamaican. And she took gold for good measure at the World Indoors just a couple of months back over 60. There's Janeba Tamo in lane 3, 5th over this distance at the World Championships last year, the American. She was a World Junior champion at 100 metres back in 2008. Trains with Alison Felix. Let's hope they're both moving on. In lane 2, English Gardner, just 22 years old, coached by John Smith. She's a 10.85 sprinter, but so far this year, very, very poor form, relatively speaking. She was a distance 8th in Doha over 100. She was a distance 7th over 200 metres in Shanghai a fortnight ago. And in lane 1, the athlete better known as a long jumper, Tori Bowie of the USA. She does have good speed, though. It's set a personal best this year of 22.57. Tough lane draw, that. So the wind still gentle enough here. I don't know if it's as strong as it was during Justin Gatlin's win in the 100. Was it 2.7, I think, during that very fast 100 from Gatlin. Ladies here might even be running into it for the first 30 or 50 metres of this 200 and then should benefit it from it down the home straight. The lineup again then, in the women's 200 metres. A race which sees the world and Olympic champions clash. Bowie, Gardner, Tamo, Fraser-Price in 4, Ahure 5, Okubare 6, Felix 7, Duncan in 8. Alison Felix second to left in the long yellow socks. Inside her, Okagbare picking up already. Coming through strongly, Ahure fourth from left. Yet to show her colours really. Fraser Price has got some work to do. Ahure leading at the moment as they come into the straight. Great run too from Tori Bowie on the inside. Look at Bowie in lane one. She's going to take this surely. It's Okagbare though coming through strongly on nearer the camera. But it is a win indeed for the long jumper Tori Bowie. The time there, 22.18 unofficially. Oh my word. I said she's in good form. She set a personal best already this year of 22.57, and she's just destroyed her personal best, just looking for the wind speed. Plus 1.5, it's a legal time there. The fastest time in the world this year for Tori Bowie from lane one. The long jumper shows a clean pair of heels to the half-lap specialist. Can you believe it?
What a great turn, and it was really coming off the turn, Tim, that transition that they talk about into the straight. It's much tighter in lane one, of course, but she did so well there. Okagbare finishing very, very quickly, but couldn't run her down. And we've had one or two surprises in the sprints here. Just had one in the high hurdles for the men and another one there from lane one. That is a great run. That's really quick, 22.18. It is a legal wind, times count. And with all of the big names there, apart from Okagbare, Felix, Ahure, and Fraser Price looked completely out of sorts there. Kind of was there round the bend, but Fraser Price faded really, really badly. 23.06 for the brilliant Olympic champion, but what a win for Bowie.
Maria Kuchina then in this high jump. 1.97. The Russians so strong in this discipline. And that's all too simple. He's had a couple of hiccups. Took two attempts at 188 and then again at 1.95, but that's a nice clearance from Kuchina.
So Betia, good to see this women's high jump coming on. Of course, we've had such good men's high jumping, and now the women showing as well that they can produce good competitions. Really want to get up consistently beyond that 2 meters. That's a nice clearance at 1.97, indeed a season's best.
Second attempt at 1.97 now. Oh, that's lovely from Krasplicka. She's only had one previous failure, that was at 1.88, but otherwise clean card up to this tight, but that's not a bad card at all, and that was a good clearance too from the pole. Confirmation of that win from Tori Bowie, 22.18 for the long jump specialist. Fastest time in the world this year. Blessing Okagbare of Nigeria, a personal best for a good second place. Alison Felix still on the way back. She'll be pleased with that third place. But Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price, the shock there, 8th and last, and clearly way, way below 100%. There's a mystery about the Jamaicans' form there. Well, Okagbare notching up more points there to lead the diamond race with 6 from Bowie's 4, and Strachan in with 2 points. Strawn, I should say, is how it's pronounced.
Well, one of the highlights, perhaps, of this meeting here, this men's 5,000 metres. A lot of anticipation as to how quick they could run here. Conditions not too bad. We keep talking about a bit of breeze, bit of wind, and it certainly will be there, will have an effect. Cam Levins, Collis Birmingham, all of the sort of men, the Canadian, Australian, looking for good performances, heading towards what they will hope will be good Commonwealth Games in Glasgow for them. The Kenyans, of course, will be there. Augustine Choge, former Commonwealth champion. Kipkoech, Bernard Lagat, looking for a big run from Lagat here. And Caleb Ndiku, those two had such a great race at the World Indoor Championships, and Ndiku coming out on top. Add to that, the likes of Soy, Gebriwet, Alimeru, just full of great distance names here. Some older, some still developing in their careers. Medalists and record holders galore here. And after, if you missed it last night, Galen Rupp running a 26.44 10,000 meters and breaking the American record. The stands were full, and that's the sort of event which they love here in Eugene, and they'll be really looking forward to this 5,000 meters. We'll be hoping that one or two of the American guys, apart from Bernard Lagat, can go well here. Ben True would be a case in point. What a season, or what a year or two he's having, and has just won at Stanford, ran 13.2, big personal best. The Americans bursting out with good times at 10, 5,000 meters, which is great to see. It's not just the Kenyans and the Ethiopians who can do it. And Lagat, well, I'm told he's in great shape. I'm told he's really looking forward to this. Popular figure, of course. Former Kenyan is been living here in the States for so many years now. Albert Ropp, also one to watch out for. Now running for Bahrain. Well, we'll pick out some more of the names as they get moving. They've asked for a pretty swift pace as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing this battle renewed between Ndiku and Lagat. I'm sure others will be involved, but expect big runs from those two. 12.5 laps of the track, the meeting record. You can say, oh, false start. We're seeing everything today.
That is
much to the mirth of the crowd and to Tim.
Well, goodness me. They've got 12.5 laps to run, well over 3 miles. I'm not sure that a full start was warranted. Let's take a look at it again. Who's responsible?
I'm not sure anybody was, were they? If anything, perhaps
it's almost
Barrios on second from the inside.
Oh, there is somebody right on the outside there, actually. Disqualification in the offing?
Well, no, they'll give them a warning. I just think that was fine, to be honest, for a 5,000 metre race. It's not 100 metres. Anyway, ready to go again. The guys are experienced enough. They know don't need to do anything silly as they get around this first bend. Just let themselves settle down. It's a big field. So safely away this time. 1 or 2 just pretty much jogging off the line. So there was some talk in the discussions around the pace. Initially they were looking for about 62.5 second laps, and then that was moved to say, well, can they get through 5 laps in about 5:10? There's not much difference in that, just 2.5 seconds, but it can, when you're trying to dip under 13 minutes, it can make a difference later on. So I think the idea is let's keep it as good as we can, let's keep it as fast as we can, hope that enough of the guys go with it, and of course immediately the pacemakers have set off, others just settling further back. Like to Lagat, happy to let others get involved with the early pacemaking. So stretched out, there's Lagat there, about 7th or 8th place as they go down the back straight. And maybe they have gone up a little bit quickly here, but pacemakers are pretty experienced and just settling down now. Hopefully, well, it's not too bad at all. The clock didn't stop there, but I made that round about 60 seconds or so, maybe 61. So just need it to slow a tad.
Yeah, something like 62.5, 63 seconds is still very solid pace for 5,000 metres. It's a warm afternoon, Steve. The breeze, I would imagine, they'd almost be grateful for, actually, in these conditions. I think, by the way, that the target over this weekend, so to speak, was Galen Rupp's second half last night, which came out at about 13.18, as I understand it, the split for the second half of that 10,000 metre win when he improved his US record. But it is quick, isn't it? Stretching them out there. Is that Choge in 4th place, I think, in the long orange vest?
Yeah, it is Choge. I'm just watching right at the back of the field, Tim, is Alameru, who we would have expected to perhaps run well here, but he's not been having a good year, and he's already 8 metres adrift of the field, and I would say a good 7 or 8 seconds behind the leaders. You can't even see him in the picture there, so that's going to be disappointing for him. He's one of the big names in this race, but struggling already, although he's trying to get back on the back of this group.
Well, we can go back to Andreas Thorkildsen in the javelin, 75.61 in round 3, putting him in 6th place. The 32-year-old looking for a return to form. This is opening competition of the season, and that one just edging over 80 metres for Thorkildsen. A mark of respectability to his card at last for Thorkildsen. The only javelin throw in history to hold Olympic, world and European titles at the same time. Big Xbox fan is Thorkildsen. And that 80 metres 52. He's a big smile there for Andreas Thorkildsen, the Norwegian. One of the most relaxed guys on the circuit, has a lifetime best of 91 metres, so he's climbing back towards that. Now Peter Friedrich of Germany. World Championship finalist back in 2009 in Berlin, when he finished in 10th place in front of the home crowd in that glorious Olympic stadium in the German capital. There's his card, 78 meters in round 3, putting him only in 4th place. So the Czech, 26 years old now. He's had his little blips of inconsistency this last couple of years. Best he could muster last season was a 7th place in the World Student Games. Didn't compete in the World Championships in Moscow. Went out in qualifying of the javelin at the Olympics in 2012, but he is an 88-meter thrower at his best. That one looked a little flat in trajectory, and sure enough, comes down there at around 78 meters, something like that for Friedrich. 76 in round 2, 78 in round 3, 78.65. A tiny improvement there, 78.86 for the Czech, but he stays in 4th place. Well, Vítězslav Veselý, 83 meters 75 in the 3rd round for him, turning out to be good enough for the victory. Had a no throw in round 4 and then passed his last 2 efforts. Fairly modest result, that one, in the men's javelin here in Hayward Field. Only the first 3 going over 80 meters. Veselý, the best of them, with 83.75. And the standings, Veselý leading now with 5 points from El Rahman's 4.
Well, not too much happened in the 5,000 metres while we were catching up with the javelin. Just 2-3 points to note. One is it slowed a little. 64 that previous lap just before you joined us. Bumbeloff now leading them. And Alameru, who I mentioned was right off the bat, then ran a couple of fast laps and has got himself right in the middle of the pack again. So he's finally woken up after running really slowly through the first 600 metres or so. And then everybody else has just settled down quite nicely. And it's interesting because nobody really wanting to go past Chogi. Timber is out there. He's going to be a pacemaker behind Bumbeloff. But Koech for the first time just moving past Augustin Chogi, who had been effectively leading the rest of the runners who we would expect to contend this. Bernard Lagat just dropping back a little bit. Robson there close. And Ndiku, who's moved up a little bit just ahead of Alameru in the middle of the pack there. Alameru has just gradually moved his way through. But he did run a really quick lap. And the ones in front were running 62, 62, 62. He went about 64 or maybe 65 and then had to throw in a 60 to get himself back involved. But he's in there now, and just a little bit of a gap appearing towards Lagat. So you just need to watch that. So the pace, 63 on that previous lap, just slowing a bit, Tim. Not quite as quick as they wanted or asked for. And that 13-minute mark, obviously something many of them will be looking towards, but it will undoubtedly pick up. It's just a question of who's going to want to take it on. Well, the 13-minute barrier will remain pretty elusive if they don't accelerate now, Steve, in this 3rd kilometre. 5:14 at 2K means the 2nd kilometre was 2:39. Very slow indeed after a 2:35 opener, which was pretty much spot on. But I get the feeling Bumbelow has increased it now, and it is single file there for that first 8 or 9 athletes. And as you mentioned, there is a gap which is a little worrying. Bernard Lagat just struggling to close the gap by the looks of things. He's leading the 2nd pack. Yeah, Ben True has just gone past his American compatriot, and Lagat wouldn't normally be expecting. In fact, there's a queue behind Lagat. They're thinking, well, he should be further up, and now they're starting to go past him. So Lagat's struggling. Up there in the main group, Gebrewett's just been nice and comfortable at the back of that group. In the orange, looking good. Ben True doing his best to try and close down. Rops wearing the white vest of Bahrain. Bumbeloff trying to keep pushing things along as his pace-making duties will come to an end. And then we'll have Katimba and Koech and Ndiku. Chogi starting to struggle, moving off the back of that group now. Alameru in there, and so is Gebriwet.
I'm really surprised Bernard Lagat seems to be having a bad run. He was very chipper yesterday, speaking to his agent. Apparently he's come off his training over the last few weeks with from Coach Lee, feeling very, very confident and strong. Everything's been clicking well. But certainly at the moment, reality seems to be kicking in and he's struggling. Collis Birmingham, too, back in about 10th place. You remember, beat Galen Rupp a couple of weeks ago over 5,000 metres. Really struggling to go with the pace of the top 8 or 9 guys.
Well, they're going to have to really speed up. They need 5.8 or under for the last 2,000 metres to get into that 30-minute mark. But they're well capable of that because there's so much talent in that group there. Koech, the tall figure. We've got Edwin Soy, who knows how to win here, right in there as well. These guys can burn it up, and it's Ndiku for me, the one I really enjoy watching. He's got such good 1500-meter pace. He's the tall figure, if you like, right towards the back of that group that's pulling away, just on the outside there, just moving through with Rob. And Ndiku, after winning that world indoor title when he did beat Lagat, certainly showing some of that talent and promise. But this group's just starting to let the others come back to them, Tim, and that's the indication of it has slowed a little. We've had 63, 63. Now that's a 65.5 lap, and that's why that group, including Bentru, just starting to get closer to them. But the Timber just picking it up again, maybe realising it's slow.
Well, it's a shame, isn't it? Because as you said, they'd had 3 laps of around 63, 63 and a half. Then a 65.5. It really does ease right back on the throttle, and having gone through 3,000 metres in 7.52, which is pretty healthy, they've lost a little bit of momentum there. Pacemakers out, and I suspect now they'll start gathering themselves for that surge over the last mile, the last 4 laps. It might well come down to a tactical affair from here on.
So here's the first effort, maybe to try and push things on a little bit. Ropp with Soy, who's got such good pace, such a good kicker, Soy. And Soy moving on as well, deciding, right, enough is enough. This has got too slow here, we might as well move up. Gebriwet also deciding to get involved here, as does Alimeru, moving up onto the shoulder of Ropp. But Ndiku looks comfortable, Koech looks comfortable, and the only other man in that group is John Kip Koech, who's at the back and looking behind. Ropp now exchanging the lead with Edwin Soy. Alimeru just tucked in 3rd place there. Then we've got the 2 Kenyans as Gebriwet gets between them just to split them up. And these 7 men now pulling away from the rest.
Well, and the rest consisting of 2 packs. There's 5 athletes who are, about 25 metres down, and then a 3rd pack, 90 metres down, being led by Bernard Lagat, who's looking and lumbering along, looking every one of his 39 years. He's definitely not himself today, Bernard Lagat. I guess you're entitled to a bad run occasionally, but Lagat now is a full 100 metres down on these leaders.
So we're in for something special in the closing stages here, I'm pretty sure. So Ropp leading. The Timber still there. Then we've got Alimeru in 3rd place behind them. There needs to be well under 2 minutes if it's going to be under 13 minutes. 11.05 with 2 laps to go. Gebriwet in the orange. And Ndiku still looking threatening. Koech is still there trying to hang on, and so is Kip Koech at the back of that group. But it's stretching out now, it's picking up. Rock winding things up, getting it moving. They're all single file down there now, but Ndiku still looks a big threat. The tall figure moving up alongside Alimeru. 600 metres to go. Oh, and then Ndiku just cut inside there, and Alimeru just feeling a little nudge in his back. Gebriwet looking behind to see if there's any other threats. Well, Koech is still there.
Soy there in 2nd place. I wonder if with 500 metres to run he's feeling a sense of deja vu. Remember last year he outsprinted Mo Farah at this meeting, and he's looking strong at the moment, although, as I say that, so Ndiku comes through with an early surge at the bell.
Caleb Ndiku, this huge talent, he can run 1,500 metres, he's run sub 3:30, was in that great race with them, with the aforementioned Mo Farah when they chased Kiprop home in Monaco last year, ran under 3:30. When you've got that pace, then you're a massive threat. Leaning forward, not quite allowing that full stretch of those long legs of his. Alimeru is there, Ropp is still there in with a bit of a chance here, but Ndiku has the opportunity to take the win here if he can just stretch over this last 200 metres. Soy looking for a little bit of room, but Ndiku pulling away now with Alimeru. It's going to be between these two. Kenya versus Ethiopia. It was ever this. The crowd rounds in the home straight. They love this. And Ndiku's kicking hard. Ndiku, brilliant run from him. Just going to be outside 13 minutes. Ndiku wins it. Alamaru ahead of Shaw, then Rock. Great race. Koech coming in behind. Kip Koech. And then Gebruet, Chogi. The others will have to just settle for minor places and minor times. This guy is getting better, Tim. He won the world indoor title. He's got pace to burn. And he can run quick as well. A new world lead and a win for Caleb Ndiku of Kenya.
Well, it was written, wasn't it? When you've got that sort of pace at 1500, 329. Alamiru's best is 335. Here is the move from Ndiku coming down the outside. An early move, really. But he wanted to control this final lap and actually didn't really kick in hard in this 54.6 final lap until 300 metres to go. I got his last 300 at 40.1, which is considerably quicker. But here it is, Alamiru, a lovely, fluid, powerful runner there in the yellow. But Ndiku, look at that, oozing power, more of a middle distance power he's displaying there than the distance runner power of Alamiru, the Ethiopian, who eased off on the throttle when he knew he was beaten. Great race, though.
He's a little bit of a character as well, Ndiku, and he'll enjoy that, his moment in the spotlight. There'll be a few of them as well. He's got the muscles, he's got the clout, hasn't he? He's just a nice runner. I really do like him. He's a bit of a character. A lot more to come from him in the coming years, I think, Tim.
And that, Steve, for me, on the track at least this afternoon, was the 7th world lead of the day.
It is early in the year, we must make that point. Caleb Ndiku, fast 13:01.71. Alamaru having to settle for second, of course, season's best for many of the athletes here. Great 5,000 though. Lots more still to come, of course, including David Rudisha with his comeback. But let's wrap up what's going on in the women's high jump.
Yes, Kaprichka, 1.99 for the pole. Second attempt here. Oh, that's nice. And she knows it too. Scream of joy there from Kaprichka. And her competition continues. 4th at the World Indoors, just outside the medals. Back in March, here's Chicharova. She too, a second attempt at 1.99. Lying in 4th place at this stage, 3 attempts she took at 1.97. Oh, that's good too. But she again gives it a little clip, and less of a celebration from her, I think, than a sigh of relief. As mentioned, she is one of the great jumpers in history. Chicharova, 3rd equal highest. And to be struggling here way below, well, at 1.97, a long way below 2 meters, for her is not great. 3rd attempt at 1.99 for the Spaniard, Ruth Betia now. She's had a busy afternoon, several failures at previous heights, but that's nice. And the best of them all at 1.99, goes completely clear there. Does the massive figure of Ruth Betia. She's around 6'5". She's a huge character in every sense. And at the age of 35, still going well.
So that win for Caleb Ndiku will give him 4 points in the diamond race, but Alamiru with a 1st and a 2nd place leading at the moment. Well, I was saying, much anticipated return of David Rudisha. Of course, Tim was here last year that he had to pull out, but I, like you and everybody else here, really looking forward to seeing what he can produce in what looks like a fantastic 800 metres.
Yes, 2 laps of the track for these men, including David Rudisha, the Olympic champion and world record holder, and what a test it is. Talk about jumping back in the deep end. His last race was on the 25th of May last year in New York, just over a year ago. He's up against Nigel Amos here, who is in wonderful form. Amos, the Olympic silver medalist. Dwayne Solomon of the USA, the fastest man in the world this year. And Abu Bakr Kaki, the twice world indoor champion. There was a late change of lanes, by the way, but we'll see those athletes now. There is Adam Kajot of Poland, just 24. He's a 1:43 performer as Kajot. Silver medal at those World Indoors in front of the home crowd a few weeks back. He's a very good performer. This is his first outdoor race of 2014, though. The breeze still blowing across Hayward Field, just taking the edge off one or two performances and spoiling the 100 for Gatlin. Marcin Lewandowski of Poland, just outside his compatriot, the European champion back in 2010. Very powerfully built Lewandowski. 5th in Shanghai. Pierre-Ambroise Boss of France, European bronze medalist back in 2012. Boss, he too a big, strong man and a 143 performer last year. His career very much on the rise. Andra Sarji of Great Britain, 26, an Olympic finalist in 2012. He's a 143.7 man. Mohamed Aman, he's the world #1 at the moment, world champion last year. And although he's not top of the world rankings when it comes to win-loss record over this last year in Rudisha's absence, he has the ace card over just about all of this field. Kip Keita also in this lineup. That's Alfred Kip Keita, just 17 years old, world youth champion last year. Kip Keita sharing lane 5 with Amos. There has been a change of lanes, and that looks to be causing some confusion out on the track, I have to say. There's Dwayne Solomon in the blue. He's been talked up in the US media as a possible attempt at Johnny Gray's US record, long-standing US record of 142.60. This run for Dwayne Solomon. We shall see. Pace has been requested. It's 49.5. Solomon there being introduced to the crowd. Solomon strong, consistent. Abubakar Kaki, well, good to see him back. He was off the scene for all intents and purposes last year. He only 7th in the Olympic Games. And there is David Rudisha. Well, we're flitting around a little bit. It's Kip Keita we're staying with. No, we're back to Rudisha. Very, very nervous, I'm sure. The world champion in 2011, the Olympic champion. Have to be nerves. He said he's still getting some pain on the inside of his right knee to me yesterday, David Rudisha. He's not out of the woods yet. Let's hope this goes smoothly. And I think anything in the first 3 with a solid time would be a very, very good return for Rudisha. Bram Som is the Dutchman, a former European champion. To the left there on the outside, who will be the pacemaker. 49.5 will certainly test Rudisha and all this field. So away they go. I understand Rudisha ran a very good 600 meters in training back in Kenya just on Monday this week. So the form they feel is returning. With the coach, Brother Colm, back in Kenya where he's been getting all his rehab. But they cut across from the outside quite sharply to Rudisha there. He's got to learn his race skills again. With a long, powerful stride. It's a joy to watch, isn't it? He's such a majestic mover. Som has accelerated around that bend, but Rudisha in control and back where he belongs at the moment.
It was interesting to see the jostling behind. Amos went really wide to try and get right on the back and then lost his position again, but Aman as close as he can be to Rudisha as they go through the bell. Perfect pacemaking, 49.8. The main leader is about 3-4 tenths behind that.
Well, Aman is the only athlete when Rudisha wins his pomp through 2011 and 2012 who defeated the Kenyan, and that was both seasons at the end of the summer in Rieti. Down the back straight, 300 metres to run. Rudisha looks very strong now. Has he got it over this next 250? This the critical part of the race. Som moves wide and drops out. Aman, though, kicks past Rudisha. Rudisha tries to hold inside line, and he does. And he holds off that first attack from the little Ethiopian. Round the top of the bend, and David Rudisha, it looks so far with 120 to run. Right normal services resumed. Rudisha into the straight now. Can he be caught? Aman kicks, tries to get past him, and does. Eases past him. He's not the finished article yet, but Amos it is up front now in the red. Amos having a brilliant run here, takes it at the line. Rudisha easing back in the throttle over the last 30. It's been a solid run for Rudisha. I think he ran about 750 really well. He needs another 3 or 4 weeks of hard training to get back to his best. But Amos there beating Aman, and that is significant. There's a real tussle going on at the top of the world rankings at the moment. The winning time, 1:43.63. It is the fastest time in the world this year. Yet another world lead in this pre-classic, which of course topped the world rankings last year. You said it's early season, Steve, but the quality of performances from one event to another have been supreme.
Well, so many talking points here. Rudisha not yet ready, but he came out and he had a go. He tried to do all of the things that he knows he wants to do, that his brain tells him to do. His body's obviously not ready. He's not fit enough yet. He can't really move on. And for David Rudisha, that's a fairly ordinary performance by his very, very high standards. And then, though, the Amman Amos race, Rudisha fades out of the picture. And for the first time, Amos really showing this man has got so much talent. You and I were chatting to him in Doha. Really engaging character. He runs with his heart. He's still, for me, a developing athlete. I think he's got so much more to come. I'm not even sure half the time he really knows what he's doing. He's not really giving it. His training needs to be better structured. He said that himself. He got injured last year. But look at the talent he has. 1:43.63, meeting record for him. That's a great race. But the questions will all be about Rudisha.
Well, Anna Chicharova, the Russian, in control now in this women's high jump competition. First attempt for Chicharova at 2:01. She has the... Oh, that's beautiful. That is superb from Chicharova. That throws the gauntlet down. First time clearance at anything over 2 meters, and it really applies the pressure to your opposition. Krapishka and Beitia, both still in the competition. But, goodness me. And they've both had their first failures, and as we come to this now, we can see Kaprishka at her third and final attempt at pole. She's jumped so well. 2:01, no, didn't believe it, did she? Second attempt at 1:99, remains her best of the day. And good enough for second place. Kaprishka there. Beitia. Well, Beitia and Kaprishka both still in the contest. Come 2 meters and 1 centimeter, but for Beitia as well, it was 1 step beyond, 1 height beyond. 3 failures for her. She finishes in third place. Chicharova, with a world lead of 2 meters and 1 centimeter, takes the contest here. The first 2 meter jump of 2014. There's the card for the Spaniard. And Chicharova then neatly separated from the rest with that 2:01 clearance. First time, too. She didn't attempt any further heights. Krapishka and Beitia in second and third. And in the diamond race standings, 4 points for Chicharova from her win today. Puts her in charge. Simic, who won the previous competition, in second.
World lead time for Nigel Amos, winning 1:43.63. Amman with his season's best, won't be happy to have come second. And look at that, David Rudisha not even on the first page there of the top 6 athletes, having to settle for 7th in 1:44.87. Sargi with the season's best in 8th.
Well, in the diamond race standings, Nigel Amos with 4 points. Biwott with that win earlier in the season, also on 4 points. Amman with 2 points, and McLuffy on 2 points after his good run in Shanghai. So just one event left. It is the Bowerman Mile, the classic blue ribbon middle distance event. Of course, it's appropriate with 2014 being, what, the 60th anniversary year of the first sub 4 minute mile by Roger Bannister, and this one's sure to be a cracker.
Yes, Tim, many of the world's best are here, including the Olympic champion over 1,500 metres, McLuffy, Kiprop, the world champion, and the man who is certainly the world's #1 at the minute. Add into that the likes of Silas Kiplagat, Matt Centrovis, medalist from the World Championships, to give America something to cheer about here. And the world indoor champion, Ayanle Suleiman. There's Matt Centrovic getting a great cheer from the crowd. Great silver medal in Moscow last year. Next to him, McLuffy was pretty much missing all of last year after winning the Olympic title in 2012. Lots of issues around who's being coached by at the moment, but he certainly returned to great form in that great 1,500 that will set us off in this Diamond League season in Doha. Won, of course, by Asbel Kiprop. 3:29.18. Silas Kiplagat was close. Just behind him, 3:29.7. And then this man here, he was right in there as well, in third place with a new national record, and indeed the world indoor champion. Wasn't much to choose between them all, but again, Kiprop was the one who came out on top. So it's a mile this time, not 1500 as Tim says. They'll be looking for something really fast. The meeting record, which stands to Daniel Coleman from 2007, is 3:48.28. Well, they've asked for a very quick pace. In fact, Guida was moved from the kind of B mile, if you like, the international mile, into this race. He picked up a medal of the world indoors and said, well, surely that entitles me to a run. Will Lear, the well-recognisable American next to him. Also throwing here the European champion Ingebrigtsen in the sunglasses there. Great race in store.
On your mark.
Don't forget, Mother's always got chances. But you'd think it would be between those big names, and they've started at a real lick, a real sprint around that first 100 metres. This is crazy. You know, there's so many experienced athletes. Look at that, Tim. They're going to go through 100 metres in about 13 seconds. Goodness me. Now, come on, guys, settle down a little. And a real race to the front. The pacemakers have been asked to go through in about 1:51. Kiprop wants a good place. You can see Kiplagat moving up on the outside. Wouters on the inside. Suleiman will be watching Kiprop all the way. McCliffy not too far away either. This is fast.
Well, it has settled down a little bit. Maybe one or two of the smarter runners will be towards the back of this field at this stage. We'll find out, but certainly they're looking strong and fluid up front at the moment. And Kiprop right up there and pushing for a fast time. We know he's in supreme shape, Steve, after that wonderful 1500-metre win in Doha 3 weeks back.
Well, really quick through the first 400 metres, because of course with it being a mile, they'll split through that first lap. So they actually ran 400 metres in under 54 seconds there, which is really a bit silly, to be honest. And look how much they've stretched out. We're either on for something brilliant here, and let's start talking all-time times there. Not just yet, but of course don't forget that world record is still for so long now. Hicham El Darou's 3:43.13. But they are really going for it here. Kiprop is right up there. McCliffy is right up there. Kiplagat is right up there. And Suleiman not too far away either. So maintaining this pace, it's quick.
It is quick, and I'm just looking at the features of Kiprop, and it was very, very relaxed. It has settled down through this second lap. Suleiman in the yellow in fourth place, dogging his heels. They come through towards 800, and it was a much, much slower second lap. 1:52.16 at the half mile. And look at the time of that second lap, 58 seconds. They've had a breather there, really. And that might set them up for a very quick time as well, Steve, rather bizarrely.
Well, it does, but it just doesn't make sense. You know, why slow down? Why not set a decent pace that you can then work off? Once you start, your rhythm drops, you've then got to pick up again. That's difficult. So others further back have been a little smarter here. Might just have a bit of a run at these guys at the front. But Kiprop has the ability, the range of ability to cope with that up and down pace. So he, with Suleiman behind him, just looking good at the moment, but looking relaxed. McCliffy sitting back in fourth place. Wouters just drifted a little at this point as they come round, and they're going to take the bell here. Mayo just struggling to keep this pace going right at the very front. So it'll be Kiprop, then Suleiman, then Kiplagat, but they're all gathering. Guida moving up on the outside, sensing a chance here to try and attack the world champion.
Well, that was another slow lap, 58.7, goodness me, that middle 800 metres has been about 156, 157, so pedestrian by the standards of most of these men. The first 300 or 400 metres really did blow it, perhaps.
Suleiman kicks first and hard, and Kiprop too slow, letting them go past him, and Suleiman moves in to a lead at this point. Kiplagat moves straight and quickly past Kiprop, and Kiprop's looking as though he's struggling in the minute, because Suleiman's gone really hard, and kicking for the win here, but he hasn't got this yet. Kiplagat's so good in the home straight, but these two have got about a 5-metre lead. The crowd getting onto their feet. They know they're in for a great race here, if not a great time. And Suleiman, the world indoor champion, kicking away here in fine style. Kiplagat got nothing to offer. Wouters might just get up there for third. It's going to be a victory for Suleiman. It's fast in the end, 3:47.32. That's a new meeting record. And Kiprop blown away on the last lap. Fast, slow, fast. That's the tenor of the race. It didn't suit Kiprop in the end. Normally he'd be able to cope with that. There were rumours about how well Suleiman's been going. I heard that he'd posted a couple of great back-to-back 800s in training, and that sort of strength has shown through there, because when he kicked, Kiplagat tried to go. He didn't really have any answers either in the home straight in particular. He couldn't last it out, but impressive running. And it is hard, Tim, when you drop the pace like that, to come back with another big fast lap. He's done it really well. That's a meeting record. It'll be a Diamond League record. Of course, we don't run the miles so often. Kiplagat will be rewarded with a mile personal best behind him and others, I'm sure, but Suleiman's so dominant.
Oh, supreme, yeah. He was very aggressive at the World Indoors, holding the inside line to take gold there, but here he kicks really hard with 300 metres to go. Enormous confidence to take it on like that. Interesting, Steve. I'd love the physiologists to break down that race, because, like you said, it was a ridiculously fast first lap, 2 easy laps, and then a quick final lap. I got his last 400 at 54.9, so not startlingly fast, but strong, and a winning time at 3:47.72 isn't bad. I remember Henry Rono 25 years ago, 30 years ago, saying he wanted to run a 350 mile with a 55, a 60, a 60 and a 55.
Well, I ran a few of them in my day, and I'm not saying that's the best way to do it. I think the last lap was all about the last 300. He waited and he waited and he waited. And yeah, if you look at those times and those splits, it's not the way you'd normally try to run 3:47, but if he can do 3:47 in that sort of race, then who knows what he could do with a little bit better pacemaking early on. So just look at that, a world lead for Suleiman. Kiplagat personal best, national record for Ethiopia for Wote in 3rd place. Then we've got Igida with a personal best, Magut with a personal best. He loves running here, always runs well here. And a national record for South Africa, Johan Cronje with 350.7 for him, just behind Matt Centrovitz. Great mile race, the Bowerman Mile, always one of the highlights here, and they've been rewarded with a superb performance.
Well, the women's discus was much earlier in the afternoon, but Gian Lewis Smallwood in 4th place at this stage, producing her best ever of 64.98 in round 5. The American there setting the season's best.
Yeah, she hadn't got the season after too good a start, improving by 1.5 metres on her best so far this year, and that would be good enough for 3rd in the end. 35 years of age now, and at the other end of the scale, if you like, the 21-year-old German Shanice Kraft, very talented youngster, world junior champion at the shot, as well as being a silver medalist in that event in the discus, and improving her personal best in the 2nd round with a throw of 65 metres 38. What a talent she is. Germany, of course, blessed with so many good throwers. Well, that event was won by Perkovic, the 23-year-old Olympic champion. Sorry about that technical problem there, but the world #1 through a new meeting record. It went out to beyond, well, almost to 70 metres. She has thrown 70 metres this year already, Perkovic, in Shanghai. We're just having a few problems with having a look back at that event. But it was a meeting record. I apologise for not being able to show you that there, but 69.32. And Perkovic really on her own at the moment in terms of women's discus, and a win for her.
Kind of ironic we have a technical problem in that final replay of the women's discus from earlier on, because the quality of the pictures and the production of this meeting all round has been quite superb. We've had 9 world leads on the track today, 2 world leads in the field, and to cap it all, a fabulous men's mile to end the track sequence. Suleiman winning with 3:47.32 in a quite bizarre men's mile. Just to underline the quality of that men's mile, Matt Centrovitz in 8th place, setting a personal best of 3:50.53. The first 6 men went under 3:50 in the Bowerman Mile.
Quality all round, the depth of performances has been very good here, but I think the distance races in particular, some of the sprints just spoiled a little by that stiff breeze. You can see the wind still blowing hard. That 9.76 from Justin Gatlin over the legal limit. Will Clay, though, with a legal 17.66 in the triple jump. That was pretty good.
Well, the performance of the day, perhaps the race of the day, perhaps that battle in the 400 between Merritt and Karani James, 43.97 for the pair of them. This closes our coverage now from historic Hayward Field here in Eugene. It's been a wonderful afternoon's athletics. The crowd easing out of the stadium. There are the winners today for men and women. As you can see, that men's 800 from Nigel Amos, that was pretty special too, wasn't it? Great to have David Rudisha back, though. Williams Mills, a fine win in the women's 400 metres. And of course, Justin Gatlin denied a really quick time in that 100 thanks to the strong winds. Alameda, a good 5,000 metre win. Where there weren't quick times, there were fabulous races as well. But we really have enjoyed ourselves here today. Myself, Tim Hutchings and Steve Cram. Rome coming up very soon in early June. We'll see you soon. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.
One, two.